motherfucker. Drink blood, fangs out. Full moon, motherfucker. Change like a hoe, nigga. I'm just a nigga from the hood trying to stack a little cheddar for the money.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy. Lightweight. Lightweight, baby. It's time to bleed. Drew Titan Bronx on deck. Shout out to the mighty LDBC. Let's do this, man. Let's do this. I'm gonna see the family in here. I'm gonna skip the roll call this morning.
Check the private chat, bro.
I got you, brother. I see it. It came up. I see it.
All right.
I see it. Yeah, hell yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, you can look at this as a public service announcement. A long time ago, I'll say about 3 years ago, I did a little live called Combat Wombats. Just look it up. And I was talking about how a lot of the media, former fighters, how they walk this line and they act as if the politics and nonsense of boxing doesn't apply to them. And yes, I'm talking about people of color. And you guys need to understand what's happening now in this atmosphere of boxing. There is no room, and I repeat, there is no room for any of us to play fair at this point. All this fair and balance, and you gotta understand, when they use words like us saying that we're biased, that's code. The term LDBCer is code. All right, all of it is code. What they're trying to do is they're using what they call sign language. Y'all, everyone knows who Kevin Samuels was at this point. You know, the shames, the insults, the guilt, and the need to be right. This is what they do. All right, they're trying to shame you as a fight fan. And when you understand the atmosphere and you're afraid to deal with the smoke that comes with the fighter that you support losing, then that's a sad state of affairs, and you was never an official person. And you need to get away from everybody. This atmosphere with what's going on with Ryan Garcia and what's going on with Devin, the entire atmosphere of this, you might not realize it because you're living it in real time, but this is a very historic moment and you don't even know it yet. But it's like that with history. And that's what the picture that I put up, the Black Murderers Row, is about. Because it seems to me that the black boxing fans have an extreme inability to learn from the past. An extreme inability. And a lot of the people don't care because you hear me say for a long time, this era is in error. But it's not only the young cats. I hear some older people, my age, like just talking crazy. And a lot of the people that talk like that, their judgment is clouded because your unconditional hatred for Bill Haney, which makes no sense to me. The unconditional hatred for Devin, which definitely makes no sense to me. And all of this hatred that you have towards those two black men, the father and son duo, right, is a complete contradiction to what you say you want in a fighter and what you say you want in a promoter. Bill has only been around in boxing for a blink of an eye. Don King and Bob Arum have been around literally before I was born, and I was born in 75. Those guys have been mopping the floor with fighters since before a lot of us were born in the chat. There's probably not one person in this chat Don King's age. And as it stands right now, y'all say Bill is the worst thing for boxing, and it's the worst thing for his son. And all these things that I see in reference to those two men, it is disgusting. The things that I see from these channels, it is disgusting. It is. I was just saying something before I clicked the live stream. It is disgusting. It is disgusting. And what Stormy and I is going to do is we're going to baby step some of you through a brief timeline to prove what the title of my show is. Because a lot of you Negroes are incapable of learning from the past. You're screaming Black Power and, I don't know, justice for George Floyd and all this stuff. You're not a real person, man. You're not as pro-Black as you may make yourself out to be. You're not. And we've seen certain things. So before we go on this journey, and I'm gonna make it brief, because I ain't gonna be up here all night with this, but we're gonna drill the point. But before I go on this timeline, good evening, Sensei. How are you?
What's good, man? I'm in this.
Thoughts?
Yeah, I'm in this place of rebellion. Rebellion against ignorance. The deplorable sense of wanting to just make do or get along. Nah. Enough of that. It's time that the line be drawn in the sand.
That's right.
And as it was indicated earlier by Cat Williams, you're either going to be on the correct side of things, or you're going to be on the side of things where the truth will set you ablaze. And it's already underway.
That's right.
And you can already see that there are many who have come pretending to be friend, pretending to be supportive, pretending to want to be inclusive, and have decided that for that dollar, for the sake of greed, for the sake of being a band, a sand, and a can, that they would forsake who they may have truly been at one time for the immediate, let's just call it, pleasure of something that they may have been lacking and yearning for, and that might be some type of economic come up. But the one thing about those type of come ups, what's the thing that they forget about? That there is a fall down in the aftermath. You see, there's a reason why the Asian culture has adopted that symbol of the yin and yang. We weren't smart enough to adopt anything like that because we thought that everything that we do would just keep on riding on a trajectory. But you do run out of road. And remember, roads are paved, they're blazed, they are manufactured. They're not always there. What was there before road? Plain. Plain. And that meant that someone had to cultivate, they had to do work to get it to become a path. You can't all stop the work just to come up and have some type of a windfall or some type of embracing of a financial matter. Because what is the old saying about a fat cat? You see,
they can be able to catch the mice. They can't
you
do
remember
his job.
the opening scene of the film Gladiator, which is one of my favorite films.
Yeah.
where Russell Crowe's character is like greeting his army, and as he rides up on his horse, he what do they call it? Dismounts from his horse. He walks up to his leaders in his army, and he looks over the men, and he says, "Lean and hungry, just like I like them."
That's right.
Lean and hungry. You know,
Right.
because that belly that is not yet full has space for action.
That's right.
The mind and the body in unison can do wonderful things. But taking the analogy back to the fat cat, the fat cat will lay up in the corner. Mice can run up and down the hallway. They can even come over there and nibble on the cat.
That's right.
And he might get out the way, but he's not going to go and attack. He's not going to defend his spot. He's not going to defend his living quarters.
That's right.
Because he's a fat cat. Lean and hungry is important. And though our community has gotten a little bit smaller, we've gotten stronger because the weak units have been discarded.
That's right.
Lean and hungry. That's something that we might need to put on a shirt. LDBC. Lean
and hungry.
And hungry. So those are just a few of my opening sentiments. Yeah.
You know, it's tough when you're going through it. But once you understand, when you remain on course, when you stay the course, you begin to figure it out. And the road becomes more comfortable because you're used to it. Now, here's what I mean by that. Let's start boxing's beginnings with us. Jack Johnson. He was a bad mofo. A lot of you, we're not going to go into the whole history of Jack Johnson. But we all know what he had to go through, especially at those times, being a man of color. But what he had to deal with in his time, it was normalized for him. So the road that he had traveled, we couldn't fathom that in this time. And this was a bad dude. He's driving around white women back then, crossing state lines, man. I mean, he was doing things that could get you killed, literally get you killed. But you know what? His behavior was like another day at the office for him. He understood what it was, but it was normalized. Why? Because it was a way of his life. So he basically got used to that. And in his mind, he could never see a black man living a life like how we live it today. He could never fathom that. He said, this is my life and this is just what it is. Now, if you're subscribed to Scrapbook Boxing, he gives a detailed history about what black fighters went through. Jack Johnson wasn't the only one. Stormy mentioned last week about how when black fighters, all of that laying on the ropes that, some black fighters do. You know what you had to worry about laying on the ropes back then? You had to worry about those white people beating up your ankles with steel pipes. And all of it was legal. All of it was legal. All of it. But it was another day at the office. It was just normalized. If you hopped in a time machine, you and Marty McFly went back to that past and saw that, you'd be like, hey, they can't do that. Yes, they can, and they will, and it was legal. And there was nothing you can do about it. Nothing. There's nothing you can do about it. And that's what made this order more, this made it disgusting. You read things like that, and we say, oh man, that's a shame. But do you think that the people that was watching boxing then watched Jack Johnson go through what he was going through? Do you think that they thought that that would be a historical thing that we'd be talking about 100 years later? Literally 100 years later. Do you think that at that time there were black people saying this is historic? No. It was just another day at the office. It was a way of life. They did not know that we were living history right then. You know why? Because it's still racist here, but things changed a little bit. Things changed a little bit. We celebrate Jack Johnson now, but it makes you wonder how many black people celebrated Jack Johnson now. And you might look back and say, well, everyone had to support Jack Johnson. No, there were a lot of brothers and sisters that stood up for something that was noble, but there was other black motherfuckers running around saying, oh man, you're just a troublemaker. Why can't I just go and shine master shoes and let my wife lay down with them and I could just go home at the end of the day? Why you gotta cause trouble? Things are fine. I ain't getting whooped no more. You let me live in the shed. I ain't gotta stay out in the field all day. Because y'all got comfortable. But you did not know you was living in a historic moment. We celebrate it now, and it's black power, black fist. But you did not know you was living in a historic moment. You didn't know.
And let me say this about Jack Johnson. Jack Johnson was given an opportunity to fight for the heavyweight championship. But Jack Johnson, believe it or not, was more or less one of those who would play the game more than certain others around his era. That's why he had that opportunity. And when he got in there as the champ, there were others that he could have defended his title against that he did not, because they would have taken that title from him. And then history would have really gone a different way. When you take a fighter like Sam Langford, who was basically like James Toney at his best on 10 times worth of steroids. Now, when I say on steroids, I'm not talking about in the
actual
illegal doping sense, but amped up.
He's like a super James Toney.
If you remember him when he was a middleweight, I'm not talking about the super middleweight James. I'm not talking about the cruiserweight, nor the
160 James.
The heavyweights. That James Toney, who had starved himself down to middleweight because in high school he was 200 pounds.
Yeah. He wanted to play football, actually.
Yes. But that man, his mind set toward fighting. Sam Langford was that amped up like times 50. So, but was good as well and had the ability to really make a man defecate on himself. You see, and there's a reason that he doesn't get mentioned, even like Johnson does. And it has nothing to do with Johnson being a heavyweight champion. It has something to do with, if you were to learn the history of your people, the true history of what should be emulated, what should be taken as a lesson, what should be taken as heroism, it elevates you to a certain point in degree. And there's a reason why they'll feed you something else watered down, because they don't want you to understand your true position, your true value, your true lineage. They don't want you to do that. I tried to hit Scrapbook up before I joined on, and he wasn't available. But I was just gonna simply say, hey, Scrap, if you can't join us tonight, at least just pop up in the chat where you can, maybe drop a gem here and there, because Scrapbook Boxing is one who could definitely embellish this and fill you in with sincerity, because from Jack Johnson to Joe Louis, the only reason that Joe Louis got the title shot was because he was told to play the game. And he did. That's why when he had victories, he never celebrated. He never publicly was seen out in a disrespectful manner or braggart or showing prowess and heroism.
Yeah.
Even when black community supported him and loved him and they bigged him up, he was very low key.
Yeah.
And from the time he won the title to the time he left this earth, they had their hands all in his pockets.
As humble as they come. And
But let it be known, when I say they had their hands in his pockets until the day he passed away, I want these people who have sold themselves out to understand what that means for you. Once they have their hand in your pocket, it's to the day you die. You can't go back and correct that. You can't go back and say, hey, let's stop. I'm not down with that anymore. No, because you've already crossed the line. You've made the decision. You've been had, and it is so sad. You understand? And that's something that has to be said, because they don't think it's anything wrong with it in the present sense. That's why it is more important to have the integrity of standing for something than laying down for anything.
That's right. Now, shots fired, by the way. Because we're going to have to accelerate history. Between Joe Louis and Jack Johnson, I don't know how many years in between, but in that point, what do you think the black community as boxing fans, what do you think we learned between Jack Johnson and Joe Louis? What did we learn?
We learned then that there were two sides of the fence and the coin. And there were those who were on one side and those who picked the other side. And it has maintained to this day.
So that right there was our introduction to the fence.
Yeah, because remember, outside of that, you had black championship fights. The world championship fights didn't involve blacks.
Right.
They just didn't.
Right.
And see, the reason that they didn't want to involve the blacks in the world championship fights is because they already had an innate fear, because they saw people who had been downtrodden, denigrated, denied, abused, and these people were still prosperous. They were still standing. They were still, they weren't weak, and they wouldn't go away. They couldn't get rid of them.
Right.
There was something about that they had a fear, and the way that they would combat that fear would be to attack you, a mob against one, to sneak up on you, to attack in the middle of the night, under the cloak and guise, people wearing hoods and things of that nature. Why are you wearing hoods? It wasn't because they were hiding their identity from their own community.
Right.
But it just in case you got the gumption enough to attack and come after them, that you wouldn't know exactly who the enemy is.
That's right.
Oh, Mayor so-and-so, Deputy so-and-so, Mr. So-and-so from this plantation. Yeah.
Hey, doesn't that sound like ghost accounts right here on YouTube?
Why you think I'm mentioning it?
There you go.
There is nothing that is being said that doesn't have a connection.
That's right.
Once you let me know what this evening's story was about, of course, you know, I do the Tuesday Tussle. That's what the Tuesday Tussle is about. Marrying the plight of boxing, the fight with real life. Yeah. And see, these ignoramus don't really understand that there is a connection. But being on the wrong side of things, this is why they're blinded to the fact. But remember what I was always known to say: everybody ain't gonna make it.
Goddamn right. So, Jack Johnson to Joe Louis. Now we have something around that time. Now we're up to the Black Murderers Row, y'all. Now, I know Stormy spoke on it. Kurt Sugar spoke on it. Scrapbook Boxing. Go to his channel. Go subscribe to Scrapbook Boxing. He's wonderful documentary about it. Champside did a documentary about it. You know, and happy birthday to Champside, by the way. Today's his birthday. Again, we don't know. We're going through something historic until it's spoken on after it's done. But in real time, if you know the story about the Black Murderers Row, you want to talk about fighters getting done dirty. All of those brothers. And let me put up the picture. Don't worry about, I know a lot of y'all won't know everyone on there. And it's okay. I'm just saying get educated. Let me move the banner so you can see their names. Eddie Booker, Charlie Burley, Burt Liddell, Aaron Wade, Coco Kid. By the way, shout out to Coco Kid. He's Boricua. He's a Black Puerto Rican. Lloyd Marshall, Holman Williams, Jack Chase. All of these men. You know what, Stormy? I'll let you tell us the story about these men. You know, just give us a synopsis of what these men had to go through.
Well, what happened is because Black men were not allowed to fight for the world titles.
Yeah.
And therefore they, you know, they could rise up into contention, but they would be limited as to how far they would go. Some of these men, in order to make a living at their craft, were placed in circumstances where they would have to fight one another repeatedly.
Yeah.
Some of these men had over 8 to 12 fights against one another.
That's right.
And when they call it the Black Murderers Row, that's a reference to the fact that you have basically a lineage of men who are walking a plank, and on that plank are other men just like themselves who differentiate only in their names and their families where they come from, but being men of color, they were lumped into a group. It's almost like cage fighting,
right?
Where they couldn't fight outside of that because the PTB ensured the safety of the men who made their fame at the top of the sport with titles and the prestige that went along with that. Now, I'll ask you, what do you think came of these men because they had to fight one another like this, in this manner? What do you think came from that? Now, I know that might be a kind of a broad way of asking the question, but I'll go ahead and answer it directly. They got better.
That's right.
They got better. These men facing off against one another multiple times, and nobody was undefeated out of this. They all flipped victories back and forth. Some may have been a hair above. However, they were better than any of the champions. Any of them. Archie Moore won the light heavyweight title, and he was in his mid-40s.
That's right.
And you know, a fighter fighting in his 40s today is more of a thing of like, they say, well, you know, 40s is like the new 30s, right? That's what they'll say. But
Right.
think about this. We're talking about in the 40s and 50s, man.
Yeah.
That Archie Moore won the title that late in his life, in his career. Do you know what that means about him when he was in his 20s and in his 30s?
He was a mini boss, man. A full boss at that. He was the final boss. And salute the Freedom's March in that super champ. Much love. He said, shout out to Drew and Storm, man. Salute to you, good brother. Salute to you, good brother. And I like what the brother said in the chat. He said, iron sharpens iron. Iron sharpens iron. So by the time you got to these guys was already, they already done fought. If you fought, and if all of these guys fought each other around how many times in total? It was like over 100 times, something crazy like that.
It was a outstanding, and I don't have that number. I am sorry to say, because Scrapbook could give us that, because he knows these men inside out. However, think about that for a moment, because you're talking about basically having careers against one another. Imagine, if you will, Oshaki Foster, Shakur Stevenson, Robeson Consequao, Abraham Nova, Tank Davis, Frank Martin, Devin Haney. Who else am I thinking of?
Lomachenko?
No.
I'm sorry. I was like, what the fuck? Lomachenko, I'm bugging.
Where I'm going with that
is if they all
guys, you talk about Jerron Boots Ennis, Rashidi Ellis, Terrence Crawford, Earl Spence, guys like what's his name, Erickson Lubin. Notice how I went from some lighter division guys up to guys
40, 47, right? 54. Yeah.
Imagine all of them being locked in a circumstance where they just had to fight each other. Think about that.
And no title shot.
Think about that. Then you are crystallizing Black Murderers Row.
And what you guys don't realize is they had to do that because they were frozen out. That's where that term frozen out comes from. And this is the education part of it. When you're frozen out, do y'all remember why I went crazy when Anthony Joshua stood in that ring and he made that comment to Deontay Wilder? If he don't concede to what we demand, we will freeze him out. I said, oh shit. Did anyone tell him that he's not supposed to say that for two reasons? Number one, boxing is supposed to be fraternity. You're supposed to give your brother a shot, and let alone no black fighter is supposed to say that to another black fighter. That's blasphemous. And y'all might not think it's that serious, but it was. To use that term, freeze him out, is equivalent to a white fighter calling a black fighter a nigger. He's not supposed to say that, man. And y'all might think it's not that serious, but you know what? This is why I'm doing the show. Y'all have an inability to learn from the past. The Black Murderers Row. The only way they can make a living is if they fought each other, because they were frozen out. Yeah, now they're great. Now we can talk about them. Now we can say how they was done an injustice. But that back when it was happening in real time, we didn't think anything of it. When I say we, I'm talking about the black fight fans. A handful probably did. And there were some people that were in the boxing saying, man, they doing our brothers wrong. But it wasn't loud enough. And when you're living it in real time, and then there's a lot of brothers that were just going along to get along. Hey man, that's just how it is. Hey, this is how they do it. So let's just do it. Let's just live with it.
And in this time and space with the names that I mentioned, you drop someone in there like Sabril Matias because he looked just like us, don't he?
Just like us. Yeah.
And he would be in that mix as well. But when you think about it, dude, we're talking about men who are at the super featherweight to lightweight to super lightweight to welterweight to 154 pounds, maybe even as high as middleweight. But you're talking about these men all in a situation where all they do is see each other. Think about that. Those names that I mentioned are prominent guys of today. A couple of them just fought a few days ago. So when I say that, I'm trying to help you understand. Remember, I say about marriage and marrying real life to boxing and boxing to real life. I'm trying to get you to see the significance of what we're talking about here. See, because right now you can't fathom that. You can't fathom it because you're seeing fighters fight for the world title. You're seeing guys become undisputed. You're seeing guys ducking one another. You're seeing guys that are calling out other guys. You're seeing all of the stuff that you've come to know presently, but you're not imagining what the roadblocks were.
That's right.
But the games of the era of the roadblocks are still in place. Drew, could you play the sound bite with T.O. talking about the meeting when he was talking to Devin?
Right now. I need you guys to pay attention. I need you to pay attention. This is Teofimo Lopez in 2018 talking about Devin Haney.
Hey, Devin Haney made a comment, trying to make whatever it is. But at the end of the day, Devin, you don't know. The WBC is not going to have you, even if you do the competition, they're not going to have you fight for the title. You can get mad at everything. I'm fighting for the title after this fight, for the IBF. And then after that, me and Loma for all four. And where are you? You're not going to get a shot, bro. And you don't know that, but we do. And that's what we did. I'm not going to fight more fights. So it is what it is, man. Talk what you got to talk, my dude. But at the end of the day, you're not becoming a world champion at 135.
Did y'all hear that?
Now, listen to something very specific that he said. He said that even if you do the competition, even if I'm getting on my Drew right now when I say even if you do the competition, I said it multiple times for a reason, because what was Devin doing? Being competitive.
That's right.
And where did it get him when he crossed paths with Ryan Garcia, a young man that he knew since he was a kid? Could have even possibly been somewhat of, if not friends, they were colleagues because they come up through the amateurs and they have crossed through the pros together and they're familiar with one another. But never would I believe he would ever think that someone that he knew like that would do what he did to him. And you know why? Because this is how they prey upon us. When we don't have that alert eye, when we don't be looking at them side eye or whatever, they will tell you, they'll pat you on your head and tell you, you were a good band, huh? Didn't Teddy Atlas pat Tim Bradley on the head?
You sure did.
On live TV and tap his all like that? Yeah, you're a good kid, huh? But I bet you Tim Bradley couldn't come to Teddy's house and have dinner.
He called him a good kid, not a brilliant man.
Yeah.
And here's what, go ahead.
And to further stress what I'm trying to say here, not what I'm trying to, what I am saying here is no matter what travel in life that you may ascend to, you're still not good enough.
That's right.
They still don't respect you.
That's right.
They don't respect what you do. They don't respect your accomplishments. And when you're not within earshot, they talk about you like a dog.
That's right.
They despise you.
That's right.
They want your non-existence, which is why they have continued throughout our history to try to get rid of you. It hasn't stopped.
At the top of the interview, you heard Ryan say, Devin, you don't know. That's how he started it. And he's talking with the WBC, Mauricio Suleiman and everything. Do y'all see why I give Suleiman so much hell? And I'm telling the truth about him. He said, Devin, you don't know. He wasn't supposed to leak that out. The interview that he did, that I got that audio from, if Champside didn't have it, I swear to God, I can't find it on YouTube anywhere. It's gone. It's gone.
And he suffered a penalty behind that. He was put on the shelf. Now they could say, oh, some deals couldn't be made in this. Nah, he was punished for that. Mm-hmm. Look at from the time that interview was given until he finally fought George Kambosos. Think about the time that lapsed. We're talking about, what, over a year or more? There was a period where T.O. was not fighting, and he went from fighting regular until, what happened? That's what happened. He ran his mouth too much. Why do you think he's doubled down ever since then? And he says stuff like, oh, they're favoring the black fighters and this and that. See, now he's on his thing of talking against black. But that's not going to ingratiate himself to them. You know why? Because he's just a stone throw from being us. That's right. That's where his ignorance keeps him from seeing the facts. And it doesn't help that his dad has kept his trap open to further expose who they truly are.
That's right.
They could be used, huh? Don't you use an umbrella, huh? Yeah. Don't you use a piece of tissue to wipe yourself or something? Yeah. If it's necessary, they'll do it. But that's all it becomes, a useful vessel. That's it.
Y'all see why I'm starting to go on a campaign. Drop that damn belt. That belt, that vomit green belt, that's not for us. It's been clear. It's been clear. And the fact that all of these champions faces, Ali, Hagler, I think Tommy Hearn's pictures on that belt, it's disgusting for me. All right, drop that damn belt. But I'll talk about more of that this week and salute the queen. Yes, absolutely. He is a useful idiot. But let's go back. So we did Jack Johnson. We did up to Joe Louis, Black Murderers Row. Now we're up to Muhammad Ali. Another historical fighter, the GOAT. But do y'all guys think for 2 seconds, from Cassius Clay to Muhammad Ali, in real time, do you think we was living a historical moment? Or all that time from the 60s into the 70s into the early 80s, was he a hero to some, but a nuisance to most niggas? Now, let's go through the. All right, Ali. I'm Stormy. I'm gonna throw it to you with Ali, because I have something very important to say, leading up to when he finally hung it up. For those of you who've been living on the moon, you're a little older than me, and this is why I really wish Scrapbook was available, because he was there for all of it. Ali, your thoughts, and what do you remember how he was viewed to some and viewed to others? What do you recall?
Cassius Marcellus Clay from Louisville, Kentucky, just a few blocks away from where my dad grew up, roughly around the same age, was a young fighter out of Louisville that won a gold medal in the Olympics. And He was flashy. He had fleet of foot, fast hands, and mobility that was reminiscent of a larger Ray Robinson. Now, when he was in the Olympics, he was light heavyweight. He grew into heavyweight as he was maturing, and he took to the wrestler Gorgeous George.
Gorgeous George. Yeah.
Because Gorgeous George was a man who was all about glitz and glamour, drew the attention to himself, and he thought that there was no fighters in professional boxing that were colorful like Gorgeous George. So Ali decided, or Cassius Clay, let me correct myself there. Cassius Clay had decided he would pattern himself, as far as his persona after Gorgeous George, because there was nobody in boxing like that. And remember, Joe Louis was a very quiet guy, head down, reserved. Cassius wanted to be loud. He wanted to be belligerent. He wanted the spectacle to be he at all times, 24/7, 365. And he could fight. He could box. And he patterned himself after Sugar Ray Robinson. Think about that for a moment. Sugar Ray Robinson.
I forgot to make a point about Ray Robinson. Stop right there for 1 second. 1 second. Hold that thought. You know what I forgot to tell the audience? You know how you never knew about the Black Murderers Row? They didn't allow you to know about them because they put Ray Robinson. I'm not going to say they put Ray Robinson on a pedestal because it was earned. But they showed us him, as great as he was, to hide what was being done with all of those brothers in the past around, because all those guys fought in the same era. Ray Robinson was there. Coco Kid, Lydell, all of those guys was fighting at the time. They were active, but they kept them away. Ray Robinson could have fought some of those guys. He just didn't do it. So they put Ray Robinson there. And you never knew about no Coco Kid, no Charlie Burley. You didn't know about those guys. Equivalent to saying ain't no racism in America. We have a black president. We had a black president named Barack Hussein Obama. So racism is dead. We know that that's not the truth. We know that. And we love Ray Robinson, Sugar Ray. My uncle talks about him all the time. We know about Sugar Ray Robinson, but you don't know about the Black Murderers Row. That's how they hit him. But I just want to make that point. I'm sorry, Stormy. Go ahead.
No, he idolized Ray Robinson, even begged him to be his manager. And Ray turned him down several times. But he wanted to fight like Ray Robinson, but he was much bigger, 6'3", and ended up being 208, 210 pounds as a heavyweight. Anyway, but his engaging personality led him to a point of reality when he came home from the Olympics, being a Olympic hero, right? You got a gold medal, you come home, your town welcomes and celebrates you. He walks into a Louisville restaurant, coffee shop. He wanted to sit down and have a hamburger and a cup of coffee. He sits down, and the lady looks at him, the waitress, and she was like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I want a hamburger." And she said, "We don't serve your kind here." And he was like, "You mean to tell me I'm from this town? I just come back from the Olympics. I got my gold medal." He wearing it everywhere he go. He got it around his neck. And you guys are really gonna treat me like that? We don't serve your kind here. You have to leave. Ali got up. He left that place. He went to the bridge in Louisville,
Yep.
and he took that gold medal off and threw it over the bridge into the Mississippi River.
That's right.
And from that moment on, he realized that it didn't matter what you do or whatever, you're still a BAN, a band.
That's right. Acronym, y'all. I know what it is.
Yeah. And he started looking for something better. He found the Nation of Islam and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and their teachings about who you really are. And he began to follow this. Found out that it was a faith-based organization that taught the uplifting of people of color. And he embraced it wholeheartedly.
That's right.
And they assigned him to the direct teachings under Malcolm X. From that experience, he come up stronger. Now when he spoke boldly, he had the teachings of self-awareness,
right.
self-confidence, which he already had, but the confidence in knowing who you are. And so now when he began to speak publicly, there was a little bit of strength behind it that wasn't there before. They were trying to figure that out. But he fought Sonny Liston, challenged for the heavyweight championship of the world. Now I'm going to backtrack one small moment for a minute to say this. If they had any idea about the teachings that he was receiving, because that was all kept private, they would not have let him fight for the heavyweight title. But as soon as he defeated Sonny Liston, he announced to the world that my name is changing. I am now going to be called from this day forward Muhammad Ali. Muhammad meaning most high.
Sorry.
Ali meaning worthy of all praises. The name given to him by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Now, for some of you Tank Davis people out there, when he so-called changed his name and everything, I'm giving you a little bit of history to understand the seriousness behind doing something like this and how it's supposed to mean something of substance. Belief systems are taken very seriously in this world. This is why for those of you who do not have it, you falter, you fail, you're on your face and your knees, because you have to have belief in order to face a new day and to concentrate enough to focus that there is a higher power than yourself, that you receive the blessing of being able to go forward. Did you understand that there was one time you were taught about consciousness, having a conscience? Many of you today operate unconscious, lacking conscience, without consciousness. And so you are lost. So when you talk about someone like Ali, who did what he did, again, he set a precedent that was not there. And he was protected by these people that he learned an awakening about who he was, and they took care of him. The PTB couldn't get him. Even when the U.S. government came for him, they were not able to topple him because his belief system was something that they could not hold him accountable and loyal to the government for. Now, they have since changed certain laws, but still, when you talk about proclaiming conscious objector, which is something many of you all don't know a damn thing about, but look it up, because I'm not going to educate everything. You should learn and research some things for yourself. But they're bringing the draft back, y'all. That's another story. But being protected, having that arm around you of security, sanctity, sanctuary is important. And many of you have failed in that aspect of today. Devin Haney is going through some things right now. And many of you have opened up doors for this man to be attacked from all angles. Where is the protection for someone who looks just like you, looks like your sons, your nephews, your grandsons? Where is it? Your cousins. But you're so bought into a BS system out here that you think you gain some kind of economic place of. Do you know whatever is in your hand can be taken out and removed within a blink of an eye? It's not yours to begin with. The only thing you have that is yours, and this, the creator will argue this point, is your arse. And you'll soon be giving that back to who owns it. I'll stop right there.
We cooking. We cooking now, because this goes into exactly what he was saying. Now we're talking about now we're up to the dysfunction within the black community. This is exactly where we are. Ali was a victim of the politics and nonsense of the American government. And what did they do in an attempt to discourage, defame, and discredit him as a man? They took one of our legendary black fighters and pitted them against one another in the form of who? Joe Frazier. He became the American hero, the black American hero. Now let's talk a little bit about that dysfunction, because it's funny how history has a way of repeating itself. Joe Frazier became the black American hero. Now, I recall they took a few years of Ali's career away from him. Ali said, "You can't make me go to the Vietnam War, because ain't no Viet Cong never called me a nigga." That's what he said. And they locked his ass up. And he lost some pivotal, when they locked him up, that was a pivotal point in his career, because he was about to go on a tear. Okay? They locked him up. When he came out, in the midst of him being locked up, Joe Frazier came along and he went on a tear. The American public, now remember what I said, Ali was loved, but then there were some Negroes that just labeled him a troublemaker, a loudmouth troublemaker. Look it up. And what did they do? They jumped on the bandwagon of Joe Frazier, even had Joe Frazier saying some things that were unbecoming. Whereas Ali was being a showman trying to sell a fight, right? And he has some financial issues here and there, but I'm not going to talk about that. But Joe Frazier became the darling of America. Even white folk was backing Joe Frazier, not because they loved Joe Frazier, but they wanted their American non-Muslim heavyweight champion to beat up the Louisville Lip. That's why Joe Frazier became a tool. He became a tool of their chaos, and they bought into it. You see, the reality was Ali loved his brother. He was just selling a fight. But he didn't cross lines. And the reason why I stopped right here is because we're seeing the same thing with Tank and Devin. The difference is Tank has crossed the line. And you guys, a lot of you guys have picked a side. But the things that Tank has said and done is very dangerous. But I'm going to pull it back for a second. Ali and Frazier, one of the greatest rivalries in heavyweight boxing. Remember when I said you don't know when you're living in a historical moment until it's over with? We look back and say this is history right now. But at that time, my father told me he was annoyed with a lot of black people at the things they were saying about Muhammad Ali. When he lost at the Garden that night. Do y'all know? You ever heard Brian Gumbel talk about that loss? Do y'all know what that meant?
Broke him up.
Yeah. Do y'all know Frazier went to the hospital and almost died? That was the fight, right? When he almost went to the hospital and died, that was after the Garden fight.
One, yep.
Right. And do you remember what Ali said? He said, if that brother dies, I'm never fighting again. He didn't hate Joe. He understood that Joe was being used for the purpose of what? The machine. You hear me talk about the machine all the time. Those people ain't love Joe Frazier.
Now let's bring it up forward with what you just said about Ali and how he felt about Frazier being injured. Here we have, back in April, Ryan Garcia went into his fight against Devin Haney, pumped up on banned substances. He was literally trying to kill Devin, and then gloated about it afterwards, and was talking about we should have a steroid league where fighters can get doped up and everything. There was no remorse or anything that, you know what, well, damn, I really did this man in, a man who could be considered a colleague, if not a friend. But you see the demonic difference in how you all have shown loyalty to that wrongdoing. You see that? That makes you less than a human being. But you're definitely along the lines of a can, a sand, and a band. Yeah. I want to take a quick moment and acknowledge my brother Scrapbook Boxing, whom I had told you I tried to contact.
Yeah.
And I sent him a link for tonight's show to tune in to check us out, because he's out with his family.
Right.
But he says, please give Brother Drew my regards. And he says, I'd like to thank both of you brothers for this. Kurt would be proud.
Absolutely. And salute to Scrapbook, salute to Kurt, and salute to you, Stormy, man. You guys bring balance to what we do here. There's a lot of points. I mean, people don't listen to me. People listen to me, but people, I guess I could relate to people in a different manner, but people need to hear it from, dare I say, a more articulate manner. How many times y'all heard me say what we do here is important? How many times I heard y'all say plug into Stormy, plug into Scrapbook Boxing? Because what we're living right now is historic. And if you don't believe me, go to this brother's channel. Go to Scrapbook Boxing's channel. This is not new. It's just a new version of the machine. The telephone was invented hundreds of years ago. We just got new technology, but it's the same principles. We've been here before. Salute to relevant boxing talk in that super chat. Salute to you, and salute to fool ass Earthman. He says Drew Titan, Stormy B man.
Fool ass Earthman.
Salute to you, good brother. And salute to y'all that are paying attention, man. This is very, very, very important. This is very important. We've been here, and I'm watching this. I said, people don't even understand. 20 years ago, we're going to talk about this. This is pivotal. And some of these dudes that were on the wrong side of this history, y'all going to have to look at yourself in the mirror, man. Now, let me make this point. The thing with Frazier and Ali, of course, Frazier was annoyed at the antics because he didn't understand it. But one thing we can say is that Ali did not hate Joe Frazier, but there was a lot of hate from black people going towards Ali. They viewed him as a troublemaker, a loudmouth. But you got to look at the reasons why they hated him. Some of these niggas hated Ali because he was a handsome dude. They hated Ali because he just had it like that. And they disregarded what he represented to the fucking community. Now watch this. Am I calling Devin Haney Muhammad Ali? No. But here's why I make the comparison. Devin Haney is everything that we say we want in a boxer. He always wanted to fight the best. We're not dealing with this. What the fuck are you talking? Here we are having a dedicated conversation and somebody's coming in on some stupid shit. Stupid. To answer your question, number 2, no. Get the fuck out of here. What are you doing? Educated people only. What is this? I know where he's trying to go, but no. Stupid ass. Anyway. Here's the deal. Devin Haney is giving us everything that we say we want in a fighter. The people that you choose to support have avoided him. They avoided him. You guys have been rooting for this kid's downfall since he caught fire. The fact that you don't support him is amazing to me. The latest thing that I've seen is some dude came in my chat, made a comment on my video yesterday and called Devin a Karen. A Karen, you know, like the Karens that blow the whistle when black people are just being black people and having fun, not breaking the law or whatever. Somebody wants to call on us. Oh, they're out here partying. Well, it's a public cookout area. Yeah, but the music, I don't like the music. So what? Go somewhere else. And then when you approach them, like, yo, what's your problem? Ah, call the cops. So Devin wants you to call the cops. They called Muhammad Ali a draft dodger. And I've seen black people. Oh, well, I went to the Vietnam. I did 2 tours. Why should he be exempt? I don't care what they say. He lives in this country. He's American. I heard black people. I saw a video of black people saying that, marching. He's a draft dodger, right? But we look back at that and we say, man, fuck that. Ali stood on principle. He stood on principle. That's what he did. And what does that have to do with Devin Haney? You all know that Devin Haney is pursuing legal action against Ryan Garcia because Devin Haney is a victim of a crime. Let me ask y'all a question. Did Ryan Garcia break the rules? Yes. Devin Haney is a victim of a crime. Yes, because this dude broke the rules, which made Devin Haney a victim of a crime. I don't care if you tell him, yo, it was this much ostomy. He popped five tests he failed. And he was on more than ostomy. So this dude broke the rules, which made Devin Haney the victim of a crime. So he is within his right to pursue legal action. And y'all calling him a Karen, just like you called Ali a draft dodger for saying ain't no Viet Cong ever called me nigga. And they took his career away. He went to prison for a second, and then they said you can't fight for X amount of years. So according to the rules and regulations back then, Ali broke the rules, right? But he stood on principles. We celebrate that. Devin Haney was done an injustice. And he's saying, I'm going to pursue legal action. And y'all calling him a Karen. I don't understand you niggas. Or do I? Because watch this. A month ago, Logan Paul, that white boy, showed you how to set it, didn't he? He said, you accusing my product of ruining kids' minds and I'm a devil worshiper and all this stuff? Okay, cool. Watch this. Defamation suit. And what did Ryan do? He got on someone's podcast down on the couch and said, man, I don't want no problems with Logan Paul. I'm cool with him. And then he cracked a prime drink and drank it. And Logan Paul suing his ass. Did y'all call Logan Paul a Karen? That white guy? Did you call him a Karen? Did you? You didn't. You niggas waited until Devin Haney pursued. And I told y'all he was going to sue him. And you waited till he did it. And now I got black men and some women calling him a Karen. If you dudes was running around in the 60s, you'd hate Ali too. Because some of you niggas in the 90s hated on Floyd Mayweather. Now, I'm not talking about him being a prince of a person, but we stood, for those of you who've been around, we stood in the pocket for his career. I'm not talking about him as a man. There were people trying to defame his career in defense of Manny Pacquiao and Miguel Cotto and all these people. We said, hold on. We're talking about boxing here. And every time we shut an argument down, boxing related, what did they do? Oh, well, he beats women. We say, hold on. Don't move the goalposts. I'm not talking about that. Oh, but you don't want to talk about that because you justify him beating women? No. I'm not saying that. We were talking about boxing. Y'all remember that? So now Devin's a Karen? Y'all didn't call Logan Paul a Karen. And this was a month ago. He said, I'm suing Ryan Garcia. Y'all didn't even do that. What's worse, saying that Logan Paul is a devil worshiper? Or Ryan Garcia being on drugs trying to kill him in a fucking boxing match? I'm asking the black people. What's worse?
Hold on a second. Get this guy, Jukebox, says you can't compare Haney to Ali though. Listen, hold on. Don't nobody block him or nothing right there. I'm getting ready to explain something here. You said that we can't compare Haney to Ali. They're both Muslim. What are you talking about? They're both professional fighters. They both have suffered injustices by the PTB. Now, where do you not see the comparison between the two? You will allow someone to say that Vasyl Lomachenko or Tyson Fury are like Ali. I don't see anything near either of them being like Ali. Lomachenko from the Ukraine is a little bit small for a professional fighter. A junior lightweight really is what he is, if not a super featherweight. Tyson Fury is a druggie, something that Ali could never be.
And he's not even allowed in America anymore.
So where are you coming from when you come in here to say something like that amongst a moment of teaching? And here you are interrupting with foolishness. Jukebox.
Your thoughts. Jukebox, your thoughts.
When someone is trying to pass on knowledge, here you are once again in the auditorium that's packed with people with pads, pencils, tablets, laptops, where they can search and research the truth. Here you are yelling fire. So we've noticed you. Now, do you want to step out on your own, or do you want to get the hell out by way of somebody tossing you? The decision is yours. And anyone like you can suffer the same fate. Simple as that.
Dr. Professor is spot on. He said integrity is a comparison. When I was going on my analogy, the first thing I said was I'm not comparing Devin to Ali. But see, we're in a microwave society, so what's happening to our fighters today is happening at an accelerated rate. Devin hasn't been around as long as Ali, but they putting the fuck to him faster than they did to Ali. Because it's happening at an accelerated rate. What is he fighting against other than the machine? He's fighting y'all. He's fighting Floyd Mayweather.
I didn't even go into the comparison of his own people going against him, just like Ali's own people went against him. Drew talked about that a little while ago. See, I don't have to say everything because Drew has knowledge of these things as well. And some of our brothers and sisters in the chat have knowledge of these things as well. Queen 71, she's out there.
That's right.
She's been around. She knows.
Kondo knows. Mr. Shelton knows. A lot of y'all know.
You make yourself look very sad. And this is one of the reasons why we won't progress to where we need to be, because too many of you are willing to lay down and give the blueprint of where our secret hideout and lair is to the PTB. They over there, boss. This is what they said, boss. This is their phone number, boss.
Mm-hmm.
I got the address, boss.
Who's that nigga on that there stag? Looking ass dudes. Do you think that we just talk about Devin and Errol and Bud and Deontay just because we like them? We know the importance of support is. And even when they don't see it, I talked about Andre Ward. He said, I ain't asked for y'all support. He said that to Fred. I said, well, shit, that's bad. Because if he only knew the fighting we got into when the powers that be were dragging his name, and he got out just in time because eventually they were going to get him. Now, Bob Arum could sit on there and say, Vasily Lomachenko was the best thing he's seen since Muhammad Ali and Sugar Ray Leonard. Knowing he was around when Pernell Whitaker started his career and ended it. And then this dude F's around and loses his second pro fight. Convenient that his fans don't even acknowledge the Orlando Ciolito loss. And his fan base don't even want him, they didn't even want him to run it back. And that guy's gotten countless opportunities, and right now to this day, he's a legit threat at 135. And guess what? Tank didn't help situation because he was supposed to take care of that business 5 years ago. I wanted Tank to knock his head off. And guess what? He's still around. And guess what else? I said it before, and when they sign that fight, I'm going to remind y'all. They're grooming Lomachenko to be the next undisputed champion at 135. He already has 2 belts, and he got 2 to go. If you think, with Tank, you know what? I'll save it for the conversation, bro. I'll save it for the conversations. Everything, I'll save it for later. Everything is okay till it's not okay. I'm also going to do a campaign of a list of brothers we need to protect. And there's going to be some brothers not on that list. Because there's a lot of brothers around the community, the boxing, I'm talking about the fighters. They think that this is just about getting it done in the ring and having a great camp. They think that what happened to Deontay and what happened to Devin, all that injustice, they think it can't happen to them. And this is all after Margarito and Shane Mosley, how Margarito got caught. I'm going to point out something else with you ignorant niggas. You blame Deontay for not surrounding himself with people to check gloves and hand wraps and things of that nature. Not one time did you blame Miguel Cotto for the same thing. Because it was alleged. Just like Tyson Fury was alleged, but we know what we saw. And we wasn't on the Margarito until Brother Nas, rest his soul, until he caught it. And then we went back and said, oh, snap. Miguel's face did look kind of busted up. And then they zoomed in and saw the hand wraps. I've never seen that before. But you still can't prove it. Why? The Makoto fight hand wraps, some things are gone. But you kind of put 2 and 2 together, right? And then I'll take it back further. Did I not have Kermit? Go on my search engine and put in Kermit Cintron. Kermit told you he got me twice. Did y'all ever think to say, well, Kermit, first time, yeah. Second time, ain't that on you? Ain't no one blaming Cotto. Ain't no one blaming Kermit. Golden Johnson, I think he got him. Paul Williams said his fist felt funny, and so did Joshua Clottey. Said his fist felt funny. Remember, he knocked out Sergio Martinez early in his career. Sergio Martinez. So certain fighters, you blame the victim. Deontay's fault, right? Devin ain't have to get in the ring, but he did. Why? He got in the ring thinking he was he knew the dude was going to be overweight, but he thought he was going to be in there with a clean fighter. I knew it was a problem the next day when he sent out the tweet. He told the commission, I can't make the weight. He made it seem like it was health reasons. They said, fuck it. They had to renegotiate the contract, and they said, we're still fighting you. Next day, he says, Floyd told me to come in 3 pounds over. Then Floyd gets on Cameron's show and Mace's show, and they ask him about it. Did you tell Ryan to come in overweight? Floyd starts saying, I can't say certain things because the New York State Athletic Commission will sue me. I said, oh my God, this kid lied. Floyd was in on it. And Floyd, black man, by the way. And these are the things that Devin was up against. And then now, when everything is settling now, and you know that Ryan's a cheater, and you know he was on drugs, and he failed 5 tests, he's going to pursue legal action, and y'all calling him a Karen? What are you what planet are y'all on? What are you talking about? And then you got Tank standing in the pocket for Ryan? How the fuck does Tank still have fans? I'll tell you how. They're not me. They're not Stormy. They're not us. This new era of nigga is unlike anything I've ever seen. I've never seen anything like this. What Tank was supposed to do is say, hold on, I ain't signed out for that. That's crazy. That's crazy. You see, that's why I made him come in at a certain weight, and I had people in his camp. But didn't I tell y'all that I said that he was on drugs? Like, we forgot that. And Devin got relaxed, trying to please you ungrateful motherfuckers. He takes an L. We took the L. We started talking about Surreal Matias and Sandro Martin. And then we found out that this kid cheated. And y'all looking at us like we did the drug test. He failed it, man. And then he's lying all over the place. It was Ashwagandha and Victor Conti and Bill, and all of that shit was cap. The kid lied, and I still see niggas coming up talking about, oh, I don't get the hate for Tank. I'm not fucking with Tank.
Hey, look at the private chat, man.
Got you, brother. So this new age of black man, I don't get y'all. Y'all are not me. Y'all are not cut from our cloth. Y'all are weird. Y'all are just weird. Y'all are absolutely weird. I don't identify with y'all. Y'all are haters, and an assault happened in that ring. What do we always talk about? There was an assault in the ring involving Panama Lewis. He was thrown out of the sport. Jarrell Big Baby Miller didn't fight for like 3 or 4 years. 3 or 4 years. He didn't fight. He had a whole pharmacy. Why is it that I could say, yo, look, I can't stand AJ, and I hope Jarrell Miller whoops on him, but I didn't want him to die in the ring? What if Jarrell Miller got that fight and they didn't get the drug test until 3 days later? In the meantime, he gets in there with AJ, obliterates him, and AJ's not right, and then you find out Jarrell pops. How you gonna feel? Who would I be to be sitting there like, yo, whatever, it happened, who cares? Hey man, the auto steroids, Jarrell Miller's hands kept landing though. Do you know how y'all sound? And that's when it dawned on me, y'all don't care about the fairness and integrity of the sport. Y'all just hate a fighter and have unconditional love for the other. That makes y'all retarded. Get out my sport. You don't deserve to be here. You're not real. You're not trill. You're a clown. I'm gonna step down off my soapbox real quick. Go ahead, Stormy.
Yeah. Again, the brother Scrapbook is like, you know, he's watching. He's texting me, and he talked about, you know, Malcolm going to Mecca and how he discovered how things were over there, the true Islam, the true faith-based system that gave him a broader perspective than what he had learned from the NOI in America. And he likened that to something similar where, you know, Wilder hadn't been embraced over here, but he went over to Saudi and people were showing him respect.
Right.
You know, over there. And what I want to say about how the games are being played against our people and how the most the most detailed way that they can attack us is from inside out.
Right. Correct.
That's always been the case. When the Black Panthers, you know, had issues, it was destroyed from inside out.
Yeah.
And those brothers, if you know anything about the history of that organization, it was all based on building a stronger community.
Correct.
And do you know that out of that being destroyed from the inside out, gangs came out of that? Gangs that have taken so many of your brethren and sisters out since that took place. And the government hasn't done nothing but sit back and
watch it. Organized confusion.
And it's going on right now.
Right in front of our face.
Cities, the major cities around the world, around the country, and small town places around the country. Some places in the South. Do you know when HBO was in its still strong days of running, do you remember the documentary that they did that was called Banging in Little Rock or something?
Little Rock, Arkansas. My God.
Dude, it's like, and that wasn't even a major city, like where we've had major crime with what I'm talking about, but the influence of it went down. Now, why can't people get influenced by something positive? I'll tell you why. They can't be influenced by something positive because you have agents of chaos willing to sell out to keep chaotic circumstances going so you do not progress. We're here having a great conversation about the history of the sport and how certain things haven't changed even unto today's time. And we got people coming in, dropping these little innuendos, making these little remarks and everything just to be a distraction. Nobody's sitting back of that ilk saying, you brothers are really on it tonight. Thank you for this. They're not saying that.
Nope.
Isn't that a wonder? And it's the same people that they watch us anyway. They make ghost and fake accounts and whatnot, but they can't come in and even applaud progression.
The person doing that, absolutely. The person doing that, y'all saw the trolls in here for a second. It's probably the same guy. But I bet you, what ethnicity you think that person is? You think he's white? You think he's white? I bet you he's not. I bet you he's not. Jay Bean, Boxing and Betting, salute to you in that super chat. Much love. He said, keep fighting the good fight, my brother. I mean, on my channel, because we're simulcasting. Yes.
On my channel, I got this guy. He came into my chat a couple days ago, and he was talking about being blocked on your channel by your mods or whatever. And I asked him that day, I said, hey man, don't come in here with that. I said, because this got nothing to do. I said, I've never seen you write in my chat before. Don't come in here. If you got a problem out there, you got to get it solved out there. Don't bring it across my threshold. I didn't block him. I didn't cuss him out, but I told him that is not welcome here.
Right.
Here he is again tonight, writing in my chat again, talking about your mods blocking him and that ain't cool and all of this. And I said to him, you back here with that bullshit? I said, did I not tell you to not do this? You see? You see? Because again, where do you know me to be out here lighting bonfires and trying to start? I talk the content. I'm on your channel tonight, simulcasting, talking the content. And here he comes on my channel. See, here's another one.
See, there you go. Right there. Right there. There you go. We just now talking about Agents of Chaos, right? And right on time. Right on time. This is why your block game, watch this. Gone. You see, you understand. Yeah, I need you guys to understand something. What we're doing here, we're dropping a huge gem in the community. We're explaining why the community is divided, and right on time, the N-words are proving to you why the community is divided. You know why they say there can't be too many chiefs in the village? Everybody want to be a chief? What we're doing here in this show tonight, this is actually a banger show right now. These people are jealous that they can't even hold an audience and do the same thing. They can't drop these same gems. And they probably feel how we feel. Probably. The difference is when they click live, only 10 people gonna be in there. And he's so busy, not worried about the message where he can't come and contribute to this conversation like an adult. But he wants to get that message out and have just as many. There's over 200 people watching us right now. 217 to be exact. I'm looking at the number. He can't hold that audience. And that's what bothers him. And do y'all know that's why Malcolm X was murdered? He went to Mecca, got the real teachings, came back and said, it's not this, it's this. And they said, nah, I don't like that. That brother's getting more of the glory that I should be having. And took him out. Brother Malcolm was offed over jealousy. Do y'all understand that? You know how they come in here and say, you're just jealous of so-and-so. No. Watch this. You're jealous of Deontay Wilder. You're jealous of Errol Spence. You're jealous of Devin Haney for numerous reasons. And I'm not lying about that. Again, Devin Haney, I did a video on him a while ago saying respect the journey. Look at what he's done in a short amount of time. When has someone stepped to him for a fight and he said no? When Deontay got his statue revealed, I didn't want him to come back. You know why? I said, man, these fans don't deserve him. This brother's fighting in the wrong era. They don't deserve him because they don't respect him and they don't appreciate him. I said the same thing about Errol. I said the same thing about Devin. Now he's coming back, but Devin is like, we're going to fight at whatever weight class we want, whatever. You understand? Because now he understands. And plus, y'all done allowed Floyd Mayweather in that kind of thought process. He devalued the belts already, right? Remember when I asked y'all, Devin became undisputed. Tank was at 135 the whole time. He didn't think to disrupt anything, and all he said was belts don't matter. Well, guess what? Everybody in pursuit of the belts, they were big names, man. He didn't even try to fight Teofimo Lopez. He didn't even try to intervene with the George Kambosos thing. He didn't try to fight, take Devin Haney's O. He didn't try to fight any of these guys. He didn't. And then when Devin goes to 140, he didn't even look at Shakur. That's how I knew what time it is with this guy. But I just pointed out. Did I lie on Tank just now? No. Is there something y'all even think of? Wait a minute. Even Teofimo was running around when he wasn't undisputed. At least for a little while, he was running around saying, I'm undisputed. Because why? He fought Lomachenko, who was trying to fight Tank. Teo got the fight and actually won. Tank can't do that. So y'all talking about, oh, well, Tank. And that's another thing, Sam Mack. He didn't even want the WBA strap. They gave it to him. Doesn't that make him an email champion? He didn't fight for that. They gave it to him. Oh, y'all call him an email champion? No, funny. That stigma vanished as soon as it applied to him. But he damn sure called his brother an email champion. Turk Al-Sheikh says, come to Saudi. I got $50 million for you. I don't know what he was offering Devin. I got $50 million for you versus Devin. He said, send me 2 Ferraris. I don't know how that math works out. I don't know how bad the mathematical system and the education system in Baltimore is. I don't know. But $50 million, he could buy a few Ferraris. But whatever. I said, oh, okay. Bill gets into it with Floyd. It ain't about the streets, Bill. That's what y'all said, right? Literally that weekend, or sometime during that week, he pulls up on Devin at a club. To what? Scream at him? To threaten to fight? I'm seeing all of these things. Oh, Tank, punks Devin. I'm like, all right, let's see what we got. I saw Devin smiling at him. I thought, and they were close. I thought when you saw Devin, it was going to be on sight. But never mind that. That's not the point. The point is, I said, ain't that some street shit? You're going to tell Bill it's not about the streets, but Tank did some street shit. So is it about the streets or not? Because that was dumb. So let me get this straight. You was going to pull up on Devin in the parking lot and slap him for free when you could have punched him in the face for $50 million? I don't understand. Oh, wait a minute. I'm listening and I'm watching. I do understand. You see, you fans, and the general has said this, you guys are so finicky. You see, Tank don't want to be a meme. Tank don't want to be on the receiving end of an ass whooping. Tank don't even want to take a loss. You know why? He knows what comes with that. He can't. He's fragile. You may think he's not. He is. If that kid ever loses and he gets dragged over the internet, he ain't gonna be able to take it. Just like Mike Tyson, baddest man in the world, they will call him once upon a time. You could literally talk him out of his game, especially if you put a stiff jab in his forehead. I've seen this before. Get out of here. His behavior is unbecoming. So anybody say, why you gonna mess with Tank? I've explained it. But y'all pay attention when I talk about the brothers we gotta protect. Because there's something brewing. There's something brewing. And it's a shame that you guys don't even recognize what the hell's going on. But I'm watching. And it's a shame that you fans have an inability to learn from the past. Everything that we talked about all night long led up to this moment. From Jack Johnson to Muhammad Ali, we skipped Larry Holmes. We even go there. One of the most disrespected, most celebrated, but disrespected heavyweights. Do y'all even remember? How many of y'all remember? Y'all old enough to remember the marketing behind him versus Jerry Cooney? Do y'all remember that? Look it up. And Jerry Cooney's no racist, but it was marketed to the public by using race. And it was an uproar, and it was disrespectful. Those guys ain't hate each other. Jerry Cooney's no racist, but it was marketed that way. You know, like Larry's clearly the better fighter. Why are they disrespecting the champion like that? But it had nothing to do with race, right? Y'all remember Guillermo Rigondeaux? His best win against our brother Nonito was also his worst loss. He thought he was going to inherit a fan base by having a good win. It didn't work out that way. You know what happened with him? He got frozen out. And we look at him and say, oh, he quit against Loma. I'm not even talking about that right now. I'll never talk about that. You know why? There was 4 motherfuckers in his division that ducked him, and they ducked him openly. Santa Cruz, Mares, Quigg, and Frampton. All of those guys were supposed to fight him. Instead, they fought each other and froze that brother out. I don't care if he's Cuban. Look at him. If he stands there next to you and remains silent, you're going to think he African. They froze that black man out. Yes, they did. And he was a killer. He was a killer. He had to go up to fight Lomachenko. I was at that fight. My kids are bigger than Loma. I said, damn, he walked right by my row. I was like, yo, oh no. And I saw Loma at the other end of the theater. He had to be around 150 pounds. I said, God damn it. It was like a 20-year-old versus a 13-year-old. And that was the end. And y'all didn't say anything. Y'all didn't say anything. He had to do it. Nobody held Abner Morez accountable. Santa Cruz, Frampton, Quigg, y'all didn't hold any of those guys accountable. And they said out their own mouth, we're not fighting that guy. They said it. I didn't say anything. And there goes Rigo. And if it's not for us, the LDBC, 10 years from now, let them talk about Rigo. He ain't all that. He lost the Matrix. You should have saw the Ukrainian crowd leaving the garden. You should have saw him. And this is the bullshit I'm talking about. Y'all pat Triple G on the back. I just said, let this man develop. And they did exactly what they knew they were going to do. They started comparing him to marvelous Marvin Hagler. I said, hey, here it comes. They just can't wait, right? They can't wait. They can't wait. I ain't had no problem with Triple G, but I knew what they were going to do. I knew it. I knew it. I knew that's what they were going to do. Off code. Golden Boy calls Golden Boy calls Al Heyman Black Hitler in the email. The email gets leaked. And the super Negro is over there with Golden Boy. And I just knew B-Hop was going to say something. He hasn't said anything to this day. So now I can go back and watch Sergey Kovalev whoop his ass over and over. I can watch Joe Calzaghe throw 1,000 punches to his 2 over and over. I can watch Joe Smith make him go skydiving out the ring in his last professional bout, and I don't have to hang my head anymore. Because Allah's a perfect planner. God's a perfect planner. I didn't understand why that was happening to him until I saw how he behaved. And I said, oh, now the losses to those white boys made sense. Because he wasn't Trill. If you stand on the path of righteousness, that's all you need. And everything that we're talking about tonight is relevant to what's going on in boxing. And understand, we only could say but so much. The industry got Rigo. They got Deontay. They tried to get Devin. And they're going to try again. They're going to try and get Bud. Do you think they want Bud to be undisputed in a third weight class today? Hell no. They're going to try and get Bud. You heard me. You heard it here first. I don't care if Bud don't come to our networks and they don't fuck. I don't care. This is for the greater good. Bud, they're going to try and get you. We need to protect that brother.
Listen.
Damn.
Bud was supposed to get the fight with Fundora. How is the guy that lost to Bud getting the Fundora fight? You see how they play the games? And you can say, oh, it's inside PBC and all that. No, it's like, it's the same thing as you're looking at Canelo not facing his mandatories, right? But everybody else is being mandated to face mandatories. Everybody except for Canelo. Canelo has held those belts so long, they probably smell like tortillas. You understand? And the thing is, and he's held them, and nobody is trying to take them away. But you got some pretty darn good fighters who have come up and deserve the opportunity. And this is like, ain't nobody like, oh, let me see him lose. We want to see him fight the fights that he's supposed to fight. And he ain't even trying to do that. It's crazy when you see it. And then, like, even now, now with Devin, they're trying to tell him, well, you got to fight Sandor Martin. But he's gone through this situation. Where's that mercy that Suleiman showed for, like, Mal Charlo, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where he's dealing with issues and this and that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is a real issue. And it happens to be against one of the guys that Suleiman loves. But it's still, he deserves some time because of what transpired. All the evidence is out now. And let me say this about that, even though we're not necessarily going in that direction. I got to say it because I just mentioned it. Having some PEDs in your system, trace amounts or whatever, means that you were doping. That's what that means. Nobody tainted anything. Nobody slipped a Mickey. You understand? No, you were doping because we have on video evidence of you trying to wash and mask it.
With an IV, that
We
was
have it
illegal.
there. All of this stuff. This also explains why he really wanted to fight on the West Coast. Huh? Because different stringent policies were in New York. We were trying to figure that out. Remember going in? He's like, why do you want to fight in the West Coast so bad?
You know what? In the West Coast, they allow 0.1. He still would have popped because he was 6.0.
Exactly. He still would have popped. But the whole point of it is like, and all those idiots out there who made videos and trying to sound like scientists, you're not a doctor. But anyway, trying to sound like a scientist and everything, what you fail to realize is that the substance that he tested positive for that showed up and the others that were masked out, because he didn't just use that, he used a lot, but he didn't get the last of it out. And that's why it took him almost 10 hours. What was it? 9 from the fight way into 9 hours later that they got that last test from him, because he was still trying to mask. He was still trying to wash and flush. Devin did his right after the bout. And see, again, when you're trying to stand up for someone who's done wrong, you are the moron. You are the one that looks bad, because guess what? You're wrong. And you can't make it right. You can't wish it right. Just like Ryan knew that on a level playing field, he could not beat this man in the professional game. He might have split with him in the amateurs, but on the professional level, he has shown and proven himself to be far better. And guess what? If that were not true, Ryan would have stepped up and faced people like Lomachenko.
There you go.
And Teofimo and Kambosos and so forth and so on. They didn't do that because even his own people didn't have the confidence in him.
That's right.
That he can get that done. I'm sorry I took it that way for
No.
It's
It's
just
important
wanted to say that.
No, that's very important, because all of this is relevant. The whole point of the show is Black people have a history in this sport. We just have a history in this world. We were considered less than human. We had a stronger tolerance for pain. We were lab rats once upon a time. They would do experiments on us and not give us no anesthesia, man.
They're still doing it.
Yeah, exactly. They treated us like animals, man. Well, worse than animals. At least they put the goddamn monkeys to sleep.
Was that you or someone recently told me about a trip to the dentist where the dentist didn't even want to give them
78.
Yeah, 70. Didn't want to give him enough anesthesia. Novocaine.
Oh, you're a big guy. You can take it.
In there for. And it's like, that's what they do. They really don't listen. You could go into the doctor and have a little issue, and let's just say you had like a UTI. You go to the doctor and they tell you, you say, well, I'm feeling some symptoms of this or that. And they say, okay, well, let's check you out. They'll tell you, oh, your lab results are fine. Everything is good. Oh, well, I don't feel fine. Well, don't worry about it. I'll tell you what, take this and you can take it for about a week and everything, but you should be fine. But you're good. They're really lying to you because they want to see what happens to you. You see? And that's how we've been put in the pocket. Do you know, like black women giving birth and they may want the epidermal or whatever. And it's like, they let them, oh, you don't need that. We got to protect the baby. We got to do this. We got to do that. And it's like, you know, they want to see what happens. They'll tell a black woman, oh, you need to have a cesarean. And it's not really even necessary, but they want to cut on you and everything because that's exploration. That's a chance for some of those new nurses who are trying to become doctors to see what's going on and everything. And you don't realize you've just been guinea pigged. They do this stuff. It's for real. How many non-black women are giving birth cesarean as opposed to black? Look that up and see what I'm saying here. They do these things. But see, we got people coming in here talking about Fury and Wilder and stupid stuff like that. But we're trying to tell you something. We're trying to give you something of substance.
Yeah.
And these agents of chaos are right there at the doors. It's one of the main reasons why I have a zero tolerance on my channel, because I don't want the distraction of, I want to get in there, do what I'm doing, and be gone. I don't want to be piddling and fiddling and all of that foolishness. The hell out of here with that.
Bullshit. Speaking of bullshit, I'm talking with Michael Ray in the chat. He just wrote on my other channel, he said, and I can't see him. He's not blocked. I just went to his channel. Now you could check, it says hidden and unhidden. He's not blocked. He's on your channel. So I said, come right in my chat. I can't see him. I see him on StreamYard, but I can't see him on either one of my channels. That's YouTube. Just like I can't give Anthony Jones a wrench. I swear to God, this is absurd. This is absurd. This is crazy. That's wild, man. I just checked his channel. Dude, man, this is stupid. He's not blocked on Pep Talk. He's not blocked on Drew Titan LLC. This is crazy, man. This is crazy. Absolutely nuts. And when we tell them that this is happening, they say, oh, it's impossible. Man, this is the part of organized confusion that I'm talking about. This, man. Michael, I'm gonna fix it, man. Nah, Michael, I'm gonna fix it, man. Because these are the little things that they do to create dissension. If they can pull one or two people out of, because you know, some people will get offended, but like, well, I don't know what I did, so I'm just not gonna support them no more. And things like that. That's why I asked you to type in the other damn thing, man. Because this is like, if y'all knew what we've been dealing with behind the scenes, we literally caught YouTube in a, I ain't even gonna drop, like, we caught them, bro. We caught them. They were doing a lot of things behind the scene. And I always say documentation beats conversation. Well, this is one thing right here. I just went to the brother's page. We can tell if a channel's blocked by clicking on certain things in the page. He's not blocked. Man, this is amazing. And these are the little things that we have to fucking deal with, man. These are the things that I'm talking about. Let me try something. Amazing, man. Amazing. And you have to voice things like this. refresh. All right, Michael, try it now. Try it now, Mike, on Drew Titan LLC. Amazing. Crazy, man. Absolutely annoying. But anyway, I hope y'all understood the purpose of the show. Yes.
Yeah, I see you, Michael. I see you.
Yes, now I got you. Unreal. Got you. Gotta go through that song and dance. Had to refresh the page and move shit around. Silly shit. So I hope y'all understand the purpose of the show. The black boxing fans' inability to learn from the past. We went back from Jack Johnson to Devin to this situation. It's the same atmosphere, y'all. Ain't no one comparing. I'm not comparing Devin to Ali, from Ali to Joe Louis to Sugar Ray Robinson to Jack Johnson. That what we're saying is we're dealing with the same lack of integrity from our community. I already know how the other community is going to view us. I already know that. When are we going to get it together? Do y'all understand how out of line this picture is? This is beyond trolling. This is not funny. I can't look at this for that long. This is disgusting. And y'all don't get it because you choose not to. Do y'all know when I did that live? Read this. Many are asking how will the WBC punish Ryan Garcia? The very next sentence he says, we don't care to punish him. We want to help Ryan. That's it. We don't get extended that same courtesy. And again, let me disarm the assholes. Nah, KG, I fixed it. I fixed it just now. The reason why they left Jamal Charlo alone wasn't because they had a soft spot for what he was going through. These people are symbolic. They didn't want that Charlo to lose until it was from Canelo. You know how I know this? When he was ready to fight Canelo, when he had all his marbles, you know what they did? They invented the franchise status and kept him away from Jamal. You remember that? Then he started having all of this mental collapse. And after he beats Jamel, because Jamel ain't throw a punch for the entire fight, then he was demanding Jamal. We was like, yo, Jamal's there. I don't care how he looked against Jose Benavidez. He's not ready. They didn't care. Canelo didn't care. Because 20 years from now, all we're going to do is look at the record and say he has 2 Charlos. I beat it both the Charlos. And all you're going to see is highlights of them kicking everyone's ass. And Canelo stopped him. Or whatever happened. He who wins the war gets to create history. They get to tell the history. Which is why black people have no knowledge of self. So when you're dealing with a majority of people that have no knowledge of self, you have anarchy. They start to identify as other things. Case in point, you have a brother like Guillermo Rigondeaux who looks African, but he's Cuban. He says he's Latino. But do you know what's going on in that community for real? They're just as dysfunctional as we are. They're just as colorism and everything. It's crazy. You don't know he's Latino until he speaks. Because he doesn't look conventional. This is ridiculous. All this dysfunction. But here's what's consistent. Look at how the machine treated Guillermo Rigondeaux. How many people called out Frampton Quigg, Mares, and Santa Cruz for ducking him? Outside of us. How many people did that? Other than us. We did that. Because it was the right thing to do. Like right now with this Errol and Bud thing. We got love for Errol. And what do I always say about the business of boxing? I understand the business of boxing, but you cannot make me like it. Should Errol be fighting Fundora or should it be Bud? And now they put Bud in the ring with this guy from Who Gives a Fuckistan, and we really don't know how that. We're rooting for Bud, but we really don't know how that fight's gonna end up, do we? And I'm asking y'all, do y'all think the machine wants Bud to be undisputed at 154? So now Errol steps in because he has more of the star. He still has more of the star power. He still does, and they're allowing it to happen. And I fucks with Errol, but is this how we're supposed to do things now? I mean, really think about it. I understand the business of boxing, but you can't make me like it. Is that fair? And we know the world's not fair. We know that. But Bud was supposed to get that fight. In my opinion, ain't got to agree. That's fine. But we know what we're seeing. And now I'm like, you know what? They're going to try and get this brother. Look at how it's paved out right now at 154. You think they want Bud in the mix right now? They're already talking about him versus Canelo. Canelo went from saying, what beating Bud's going to do? Who says you're going to beat him? He went from not entertaining to saying, hey, well, you know what? Maybe. Under what circumstances now? I got it coming, man. I'm telling you. They're going to try and get the brother. I'm telling you. But then again, maybe I'm just talking. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. Oh, yeah, you out here hating on Bud. I was never hating on Bud. I understand his business moves. But now things are what they are. I'm speaking up on his behalf. I always said Bud was a bad motherfucker. I said the same shit about Tank. I never talked about his in-ring performance. I just said I can't gauge him. And now he went all the way left and is acting like a complete asshole. I can't support him as a black man. I'm not going to do it. But y'all believe what y'all want to believe. But the black boxing fans' inability to learn from the past, this is why we're dysfunctional now. There's no hope. I'm not looking to fix y'all. I'm just using my platform for what it's for. Y'all know I said it. And I don't have no crystal ball. But I know how this ends. I don't want to hear shit. Because I know I'm not trying to fix y'all. Y'all are too far gone. Y'all see what's going on other channels. They waving pom-poms. They're celebrating Devin losing. You love Tank that much that you siding with Ryan? I'm seeing niggas talking about, oh yeah, well, Bill said, all right, we gonna kill Ryan. Had some ignoramus saying, well, Bill said it first. Well, let me ask y'all a question. The same thing I said. Deontay Wilder came to my city, got on the Breakfast Club and said, I want a body on my record. And it got mad traction. And Mauricio Sillyman said, I'm going to launch an investigation. I said, on what? He said it. What are you investigating exactly? I never got an answer. Well, they didn't do anything because they couldn't. But that was their WBC champion once upon a time, wasn't it? And they did nothing to protect him from the likes of Tyson Fury. In fact, when Fury beat him, quote unquote, and we questioned those gloves, he told us we were stupid for trying to ruin an historic night. What? ¿Qué? Nani? What? What are you talking about? That's what he said. Now, what's worse, Deontay saying what he said, or Tyson Fury in the past and during the Wilder fight actually trying to do it? Drew, what are you talking about? Did he not alter gloves 2 times in his career prior to Wilder? Did he not pop dirty with drugs prior to Wilder? Did he not pop dirty and get suspended? Is he not allowed on American soil because of his dealings with Daniel Kinahan? And that's your WBC champion?
I am not Interpol.
I'm not the police. I'm not Interpol. I'm judging Daniel Kinahan based off of what he does now. Literally a week later, they said $5 million bounty on his head for any information leading to his arrest. And he's like, oops, God ain't wasting no time on that. Literally a week later.
I could see the doo-doo trail from his pants.
Y'all stop me when the haters are here. Stop me when I'm lying. I speak of the facts. This is how lost we are. Speaking about speaking the backs. You know what I heard? I was listening to Blue Blood last night. And I don't know who was in his chat because I couldn't see the chat. But somebody said that they spoke to Ryan Garcia's father, Henry, and said he didn't know what's going on because he hasn't spoken to his son in a month.
Oh, this is me playing a tune on my miniature violin.
That's what he said. Now, I don't know who said it. It was in his chat. It was on Blue Bloods towards the end of his live stream last night. And I said, what? How do you not, in the heat of all of this, how do you not speak to your son in a month? That means you ain't speak to him since he's been arrested.
No, he didn't speak to him since the check was cashed.
Since the check was cashed, you didn't speak to him. So let me get this straight. Your wife got cancer. Your wife got boot cancer, and you haven't spoken to your son in a month? What's really going on? But when I told y'all that he spoke to Rachel and spoke to Nonito and said, Ryan is drinking and smoking, and I don't like those people he's hanging with. He wasn't specific about the people. This was 2 months ago, y'all. I knew about that conversation. And the only reason why Rachel said take the gloves off, say something now, is because he got on Mill City shit and told Rachel she need to shut the fuck up. She's not a doctor. She didn't do anything to him. He called her for help. He called Nonito for help.
You speaking the facts.
I speak of the facts. Speaking of which, yeah, I'd rather have a toupee than nappy hair. I speak of the facts. And I looked right over at Derek James and Bernard Hopkins. Now, I know them niggas is bald, but come on. They didn't grab him and say, yo, bro, watch yourself. They didn't do anything. They stood there and they laughed and smiled. And I'm looking at them like, yo. I said, okay, I know what I'm dealing with now. Well, B-Hop already knew, man. But cash that check. But guess what, y'all? Ryan's last words when he was declared guilty was, I'm getting out of the sport. You might catch me acting or making my booty clap somewhere. OnlyFans or whatever. Playing with cucumbers and all kinds of kitchen objects. Me and Oscar, whatever. Well, he ain't say all that, but I'm clowning. But watch this, y'all. He said someone on his team set him up. You remember that little thing I made kind of famous in concert? He's going to start randomly saying names of who set him up. And don't be surprised if Derek James is one of them. Don't be surprised. Salute to Rod Neal on that super chat. Much love. He said, I'm glad Dev put an end to that weak-ass franchise title. That's why Suleiman is salty. All these niggas is salty. Stop me when I'm lying. This has become a circus, and I don't appreciate it. And you as a black fan shouldn't appreciate it. You should see this for what it is. And be smarter. Or you can go to the Tank channels and wave your pom-poms and rah, 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 tank, tank, tank. Ryan ain't do it. Ryan ain't do it. Okay, don't tell us that. Tell WADA and tell the New York State Athletic Commission, because the machine is in for Devin. They're in for it. They don't like Devin, but they have to uphold the law. This kid popped dirty. And y'all even talking about, oh, the levels were so low. If it was so low, why the hell was it in his bloodstream, damn it? I'm not going to take anything that's not going to help me. It was there for a reason, and he failed 5 tests, y'all. 5. See, I need to cut it out. And on that note, man, Stormy, they're on your channel, but reiterate how they can find you.
Channel is Stormy B Man. That's Stormy B Man, all caps, but no cap. One of my associates can drop the link in your chat so they can follow if they want to do so. Please.
And I think the Queens of the Ring is on. Let's all head over there and support our sisters. This is how we do. We support. We big up everybody. We donate. And even if we don't donate, we contribute with views. And let's run their numbers up. Because we're a family. We're not a gang. We're a community. cut the nonsense. Yeah. I'll see y'all in the AM because I ain't done with this.
Yeah, and catch my premiere in the AM too. I got a
Absolutely.
good one coming tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Be there.
Be there. Be there or do whatever it is you do. Now catch y'all on the rebound, man. Ross on deck.
Move! Why are you gay?
Who says I'm gay?
You are gay.